and here I will see a mirror of
Equestria. Police are searching for a fugitive wanted for 30 counts of kidnapping, including attempted kidnapping of a princess. If you see a suspicious-looking purple unicorn, report it to the Royal Guard immediately. And now, something new from Blue Brony.
Really better trot on by, don't you look her in the eye. Really better trot on by, don't you dare pay her no mind. Philly better trot on by, don't you tilt your head back by. If you do, you find yourself slipping, sliding, jiving into her lie, into her lie, into her lie.
That's just it. Public enemy number one, Starlight Glimmer.
Philly better trot on by, don't you look her in the eye. Philly better trot on by, don't you dare pay her no mind. Philly better trot on by, don't you tilt your head back by. If you do, you find yourself slipping, sliding, jiving into her line. Oh, 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 voodoo, witchcraft, hocus pocus, alakazam. She'll call you true friend, lover, anything to get her ahead.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Cool. Time to start. Okay, welcome everybody to the whichever Ashes of Equestria panel by now. I've lost count. But my last year's tour of several cons with this yielded some really good results, so I'm doing it again. I'm Ansis. I'm the lead programmer of the Overmare Studios. We are making the video game Ashes of Equestria, and this is the panel about this game. Yeah, this time, so I don't know, who has seen my last year's panel? Raise your hand. Nobody, wow. Or maybe nobody cares. But yeah, so this time I will focus on, or like last year, we promised that, you know, Wave 6 or the next demo release of the game is really, really soon, sooner than ever. And it's been a year and it's not here yet. So, but we have made progress, and that's what this panel will be mostly about. I'll be trying to demonstrate that we have not been slacking off. And at the end of the presentation, I will go over the our tech stack and stuff. And come on, technology. Our tech stack and technical questions welcome. But first, as a reminder, what's what's Fallout Equestria? Because Ashes of Equestria is a, come on, where's the button that does the thing? Ashes of Equestria is a fan game of Fallout Equestria, which is a fan fiction of Fallout and My Little Pony. And yeah, many years ago by now, KCAT wrote this crossover fan fiction, which is at the time was the biggest, longest thing ever. And somehow it was the best thing ever. And there's been a lot of activity here, right? We even have our own Wikipedia article, and there's not just there's this fan fiction, and then it spawned many fan fictions, and I'm sure there's fan fictions of those fan fictions too, and it's fan fiction, fan works all the way down, and we're in there somewhere. And so where do we sit in this? Ashes of Equestria is, aspirationally, we want to be Fallout Equestria, the video game, right? So like this, right? On the left, it's Fallout 4, and we want to do that with ponies, right? And yeah, it's an action RPG, if you've played Fallout 3 or 4 or whatever, you know, or similar games. We have all the usual stuff. We have the special, we have equipment, stat points, actions, guns, and of course, magic. And we do a loose adaptation of a portion of the fanfic of Fallout Equestria, which is only the area around Ponyville, and that's what you as the player do, right? So you, a little spoiler, right? You leave your stable, which is the pony version of Vault, go out into the wasteland, explore it, find the bad guys, fight them, and take their stuff. Yeah, and Ponyville has been taken over by raiders and bandits and monsters, and there's, of course, our friendly NPCs too. And as a reminder, this is we're an open world game, not as big as the inspiration for it, but still, it's not about the size, it's about density. Yeah, and that's the intro. So, where's Wave 6? Part of the reason that we still haven't released this is that, I guess, work on Wave 6 cannot be perfectly parallelized, right? It's not like digging ditches or making sandwiches or whatever. You can't make, 10 people. That means it will be 10 times faster. No. It depends on specific creative people, like our writing team, our level designers, and so on, and some of the programmers. And the people who basically took on the actual work on Wave 6, because we are doing other things besides, they have been hit by various real-life events, and that has slowed them down a bit. But yeah, but I didn't come empty-handed. There will be several live demos, so hopefully they work. And the first one, let's start with maximum embarrassment for me, is animation progress. So last year, when I went around all the cons and talked about our game and advertised, please join us and so on, we did get several talented animators on the team. And for a long time, we had no animators. And so the last time the pony model and the rigging and that stuff was worked on was I don't know, 2015, 16, maybe thereabouts. And it was done in old piece of software that I don't even remember the name of, that the company who made it has gone bankrupt, it doesn't exist anywhere. So we only had like the FBX file. And like when we got these animators, we're like, this is an opportunity to, you know, take that and sort of reverse engineer it back into and bring it to modern day. And so we worked on making a pony rig in Blender with all the IK and all that stuff, right? So, and here's the first demo that hopefully doesn't crash and burn immediately. Here it is, right there. So, like, it has some like talented guy called Stickman added all of these extra controls that lets you do things like, I don't know, you can, let me try to, right, you can, when my hands were not shaking when I was rehearsing this, it was much easier. Oh, come on. Nah. So we go like, right, and we add like some, and you can like, so now you can just grab a hoof, right, and you can here, for example, no, not this one. Oh my God, should have drank less coffee, right? So we, and then, for example, we go a second later, and I go down, and like this. And then, wait, which, this was right. Hopefully I did it correctly. Like this, right? And so now we have, and that's me, a programmer with no Blender skills and with shaky hands and so on, right? So we basically spent like half a year implementing this, and so the payoff is that from now on, animation creation for like all the extra features, right? Like, cause like if you played previous demos, it's relatively bare bones, but like for all the interactions and I don't know, some cutscenes and so on, this will be very, very helpful. Yeah, the kind of downside of this that we, like, since the rig is now redone, now all the basic animations have also to be redone, and the clothes for the ponies have to be reskinned. But when that's done, we're like hopefully smooth sailing from then on. And that work goes on in the background, right? So like, and this doesn't directly contribute to Wave 6, but it contributes to the final game, which is the ultimate goal. Yeah, so that's, no, don't save. That's like, okay, what's next? Narrative and world progress, or world and narrative progress. So after my contour last year, one of the people that joined us was a self-proclaimed open world designer. And he indeed, what he did, he went and talked to our writers who had been like off in their cave writing the main plot of the game. And he went and started like, you know, doing the dungeon master stuff, kind of, right? Because like last year, our map looked like this, which is like, okay, here's these bad guys, those bad guys, but none of the detail is sketched in, right? Like what's happening everywhere, we don't know. And he created this. Okay, this is a bit dense, so I'll, maybe this will work better. So if we zoom in, this is like, you know, from like your pen and paper campaign. Nothing here is to scale, but it shows like what is next to what's important, what are the, like it's the conceptual kind of map, and like where the roads lead and where all the parts. And what he also did, he like wrote some really cool descriptions of all the various places, like tying them back to the plot of the game. And and I liked it so much that I want to read like a selection of these. And so, narrator voice. Ponyville Valley, a small region in the center of the equestrian wasteland consisting of the town of Ponyville, Sweet Apple Acres, the Everfree Forest, Hayseed Meadow, Rambling Rock, Red Grass, and a stretch of highway and the eastern edge of Wildtail Woods. Right, where's the mouse? Yeah. Ponyville is a large pre-war rural town located in the very heart of Equestria, contained within a small valley alongside the agricultural forested regions bordering it. During the war, Ponyville was the former home of the 6 ministries' head mayors, but was also known for the quality of sweet apple acres, apple orchards at the edge of town. Today, the town is infested by various gangs, raiders, slavers, bandits fighting for the influence area and overrun with dangerous creatures and environmental hazards. Nah. Oh man, it's focus control. Yeah. So we're making Ponyville area into kind of a valley so that we have more plausible borders around the world map so that you don't run into just a plain like invisible wall or something. And then in the middle, you see there's the Saddle River, is a wide river that splits Ponyville Valley, including Ponyville itself, into 2 halves, with its point of formation being far north below Canterlot. The river is impounded by the Ponyville Dam before collecting multiple creeks as it snakes through the valley. A small amount of the river is redirected by the Everfree Forest into the Ponytomic River, but the Saddle River continues to flow southeast into the South Luna Ocean after exiting the valley. A massive sinkhole opened in Ponyville sometime in after the last day, plunging an entire residential block into the Saddle River, located just southwest of the Broken Bridge and north of the mouth of Cantle Creek. There's Broken Ridge and Saddle River sinkhole. That's an interesting kind of piece of history. The part of Ponyville being flooded has been like a map design decision since the very early days of our project, and nobody who works on it currently remembers why did we did that. But we've just decided to roll with it, and our open world designer cleverly made up a good excuse for why it's flooded. There was a sinkhole. Perfect. And next to it, Macintosh Bog. On the east side of the Saddle River, across from the Sweet Apple Acres, is Macintosh Bog, a large misty swamp along the east bank of the Saddle River, caused by periodic flooding, which has turned the southern Ponyville Park area into a low wetland. Fields of weeds speckled with pools of muddy water are home to radigators, one of the most dangerous predators in Ponyville Valley. The memorial area for which Macintosh Bog is named has become especially damp, but the swamp extends north and south to the bombed ruins and Shy's Cottage, respectively. At the very heart of Ponyville stands the Town Hall, a massive round building surrounded by a wide plaza serving as Ponyville's pivotal centerpiece and acting as a town hall for many decades before the Great War. During the war, this historical site acted partly as a Ministry of Morale observational panopticon for Ponyville and was outfitted with air raid sirens. The town hall is now the headquarters of the Crimson Tides Raiders and their warlords, who are currently struggling to take Ponyville completely out of Blue Sky, a rival gang, control. The hospital, located in the Western Ponyville, has been the largest and most well-supplied medical center in the region, but now is the main base of a cannibalistic group of raiders known as the Blue Sky. By the way, all these names are work in progress. We all agree that they're kind of goofy. The hospital has a large basement doubling as a bunker and is well defended and is outfitted with a sniper nest and a mounted machine gun. Blue Sky fights to retain control of Ponyville against their new rivals, the Crimson Tides. Near the Saddle River atop Macintosh Bog lie the partially flooded ruins of an East Ponyville commercial block in Crimson Tides territory. It was the former site of the Ponyville Cafe, like where Twilight and Like we try to eat her daisy sandwich. And the Breezy's fan shop. It was recently blown to pieces by a violent Crimson Tide's advance across the river, a successful maneuver to flank Blue Sky's front line and capture the river crossings. During the assault, no building in this block was left intact due to extensive use of explosive munitions. Blammo is it's called. The main street. Ponyville's main commercial lane and central traffic space in the pre-war era, running north and south from the stem of the downtown Ponyville, about a block away from the town hall, so it's like the half ring over there. Many major shops were located along this street, and it was one of the widest modern roads in the region. Today, however, Main Street is the ever-present battle line between the bulk of Crimson Tides and Blue Sky. A massive section of the street has collapsed near the intersection of Bridle Avenue, exposing the pipes and wires beneath, segments of broken concrete. Raiders on both sides used the depression as a trench, providing cover for certain fighters, while others fortified the broken streets and sidewalks on the upper tier and fire at each other from across the urban ravine. Buildings on both sides are heavily battle damaged, and some, like Quills and Sofas shop, have become almost unrecognizable points of constant contention. Quills and Sofas, a pre-war store that sold only its namesakes, occasionally running out of one or the other. Quills and Sofas is a blasted ruin caught between Crimson Tides and Blue Sky's territories on a battle-ravaged intersection of Main Street and Bridle Avenue. The remains of the building act as a gun nest for fighters willing to take control of this location. It provides a good vantage point for shooting into the ravine-like street on the eastern side, but is exposed from fire from the taller buildings of downtown Ponyville above the said street. Then on the eastern side of the map, Carousel Boutique, a tall carousel-shaped building, the former home of workplace of Rarity, stands as the centerpiece of the East Ponyville and is surrounded by a trench line facing south. The boutique acted as a staging ground for the Crimson Tide's southwest advance against Blue Sky. It had also been used as a sniper tower during the assault, but has since been abandoned. At the very southeast corner of the Ponyville Valley lies the southeast mouse. That's there. Lies a dense jungle-like region that has always thrived by being completely out of control. A huge escarpment, that's a real word, that's like a really steep slope, and jagged mountain range separates this forest from meadows north of it. But there is an entrance near the Saddle River. This part of the Everfree Forest is mostly occupied by Shy's angels. So, like, I think last year somebody pointed out that we can't use Fluttershy because that's trademarked, so now it's shorter to just Shy. Who have learned to live in harmony with such chaos by embracing chaos themselves and becoming one with the primality of nature, just like their goddess. The deeper a pony ventures into the forest, the more likely they are to never return. However, raiders are not the reason. Now, where's South Depot? South Depot, a pre-war train station built just across Cantle Creek from Sweet Apple Acres to serve the increased needs of shipping and tourism surrounding the farm, as well as the use of the nearby Hedge Maze Center by the Ministry of Morale. The South Depot is now the makeshift headquarters of a new Appaloosan bandit platoon whose goal is to liberate Ponyville from the control of the warring raiders and establish trade route along the local train line. Located in East Whitehall near the Bubbling Brook in the southernmost part of the railroad. That's there. So like we have, it used to be just one rail line going through the map, now it's several. Then there's the Buckball field is interesting. Where is it? Somewhere here. Can you find it? Well, if you can find it, then good. Bottom line. Other life. Okay, if you can, it's important that you can find it, not that I can find it. Buckvault Field, located between the Whitetail River Fork and Sweet Apple Acres, is a rural recreation sports center complete with bleachers. It was sometimes used for games and events other than buckball. During the last day, the buckball field served as a collection point for ponies being evacuated across Cantle Creek, as well as a staging ground for the equestrian military. Despite a plethora of military vehicles having been abandoned here, all that can be found today is a graveyard of burnt scrap due to a bombardment conducted years ago by the Grand Pegasus Enclave. And then go back to north. Soul's Reach. So that's like when you have nothing there, right? No like natural barriers. What do? In the very north lies the southeastern part of the Unicorn Steppe. Soul's Reach is a stretch of flat grassland on which has settled mild amounts of both pink cloud and balefile radiation, creating ghostly fumes that block almost all visibility. The nearby tower of Maseb Station 9 provides a beacon to return to Ponyville Valley. Ponies get lost here. So that's our visible-invisible wall. And lastly, I really like this one, Maseb Station 9. Along Highway 1, at the southern edge of the Poisoned Reservoir and Unicorn Steppe, stands a fenced-off relay tower and radar station atop a hill overlooking Ponyville, which acted as one of Equestria's megaspell warhead detection arrays under the Ministry of Arc and Science Emergency Broadcasting System, MASEBS. Station 9 was an early iteration of an early warning system that would give notice to the Ponyville Valley in the event of imminent disaster. It is one of the 10 stations that were built to cover various populated areas before the advent of the Single Pony Project Tower's radio override capability, which ultimately restricted MASEB's function to Station 1 in Manhattan. After this, the remaining stations served as backup. Personnel operating at Station 9 could forward signals to trigger the town hall's air raid sirens, plus activate emergency broadcasts in the event of a megaspell attack. Today, the station is mostly intact, save for a piece of blast shrapnel that tore through one of the tower's upper arrays and left it bent out of shape. There is a relatively high amount of residential pink cloud in the air around the Station 9's tower, sourced from the nearby Poisoned Reservoir. Because of this, Station 9 is actively fusing radio signals from across the wasteland into a single garbled broadcast that anyone near the tower can tune into. Some say that hidden messages from the dead can be heard in the ghostly transmissions at this site. However, it also means that wandering too close to the tower is increasingly lethal due to the necromantic broadcaster phenomena, so the same thing that's in Canterlot, for those who have read the fic. This effect is triggered when an object broadcasting any sort of signal comes into contact with pink cloud, corrupting the signal into a soul-eating transmission. If the tower had not been damaged and its signal weakened, Ponyville Valley would be uninhabitable. There you go. So that's like how we join together the plot and the map. This will basically serve as, it goes both ways, right? Like this is to inspire the writers to because they write the plot. Where does the plot happen? Well, somewhere here, right? And they get to pick nice places. And the other way around, we can, look at part of the map and okay, this is kind of empty. What can we fill in here? And so this is our cheat sheet, sort of. Of course, it is very unlikely that we will implement everything that we, misclick. I closed this. Why is it still, that is correct, that is correct. It is very unlikely that we will implement everything here, but at least that's the sort of overview, and we will go from most important to least important and see how far we get. So that's that. Next we have stable 2 progress. Let's go, live demo time again. So, yeah, wait. First, for comparison, this is what it looked like last year. And this is how it looks this year. So our environment artists have been hard at work. We start in the maintenance area, we all know. Here's the white box of the hammock of the guy. I forget his name. What else do we have? Yeah, this is just all kinds of storage. So over time, all of these like white meshes will turn into something nicer looking. And we have like modeled all kinds of bits and bobs to like fill this table with. No, I'll grab a gun, why not? Sure. Okay, which way we go first? I think we can go, yeah. That's just a room, okay. No, not there yet. Yeah, that's another storage. One of our like environment artists wanted to have fun with cloth simulation, so that's why there's this thing here. All kinds of bits and bobs. Here's some like elemental talismans, right? So like the, you know, the equivalent of water chip and stuff. So like that's where the magic's stored then, of course, in case of emergency. Okay, that door doesn't work. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the place. Okay, and this is the reactor room. So this is the like the crystal that powers the reactor or thereabouts. And we try to make it as realistic as possible in a magical world, right? So we have like this magical crystal that just generates heat or generates water or, you know, whatever the elemental power is. And then all the machinery around it is as real as we can make it, right? So these are steam turbines like you would have in real life, right? It's basically, it truly is very similar to how a real life reactor works, right? Because like in a real reactor, you also have just the, you know, like here in the middle, you have like these uranium rods and they give off heat and then all the machinery is around it. And we decided to go the same way, right? To make it like industrially believable. Well, we were here already. Were we here? Yes, okay. Then we go up. Stairs are still a problem. Yeah, this is the atrium. Now, what's here? Yeah, and this is where the apple orchard will be. And over there is the Overmayor's office up there. Let's see what's here. That's just more of the atrium. That's the diner or cafeteria. Like if you played Fallout 3, you have seen a very similar place with all the benches and stuff, and that's back into the atrium. Where else were we? I guess it was upstairs. Yeah, this is the way to the Overmayor's office. And here it's meant to be a prison, but currently it looks like back rooms. Come on, open up. Yep. Well, almost good looking, right? You can look, that's the atrium, and on the other side is orchard. then, how much time? Okay, yeah. Cool. It's half an hour past. Cool. Yes, we're on schedule. Let's go over here. Where was it? Whoa. Oh no, we were there already. Ah yeah, this is the living quarters of the various ponies. I don't remember, did we implement the... Let's see. Oh no, that's... Okay. Wrong way. No. More living quarters. I wanted to show the... No, that's... Oh! More living quarters. Come on. My favorite part. Ah, yes, the toilets. Come on, open up. No. No! Okay, what? They don't... Ah, you can... Okay. So that's what the pony toilet looks like right now. We had to make the stalls extra big so you can turn around, right? Like, humans are quite skinny, so they get smaller toilets. What's here? Ah, that's the other toilet. Okay. And the last. Oh. Ooh, don't get lost. Wait, that was, yeah, and then crap. Was it? Yeah, no. Oh, there's another. Ooh, what's this? Ah, that's the medical. Ah, yeah. That's the hospital. So there you go. Yeah. Lots and lots of. Oh, wow! I didn't know we modeled this. So this is, you know, when your backlinks don't work anymore. Now, where was the... that's another room. Okay. Oh, no. No. Okay. Okay, I remember. No, this was the right way. I think it was this way. Yes. Okay, so now what's here? Another storage. But then the most important room, and as I triple remind you, this is very much a work in progress, but here goes. Imagine there's like all the clacks and so on. There we go. Freedom. So there you go. That's, I mean, as like you're falling faster and faster, and also as you fall away from the origin of the world, right? The floating point numbers in the computer get like less and less accurate until it turns into spaghetti. Yeah. So that's our stable progress. It's been very stable. Yeah. And the last rubric, I guess, I should pay off I mentioned in the panel description, like what it's like, because it's actually, yeah, please congratulate us. It's been 10 years of this project. We started in 2013. I joined at like 2014, 15, whenever it was the Crystal Fair in Finland. And I've been working on this game ever since, and with many other people. And I started out as a normal programmer, then I became the lead programmer, and yeah. And this is like, why do I do this, right? Like, I guess why do I do this panel is that we don't have money, we don't take money, and and the only resource we have is you, the people who realized, like, who I convinced that this is worth working on. And as an extra thing, so I joined Overmare, and Overmare is a Unity game, so the game engine Unity, and I worked on it for like, I gained all the skills with this engine, with the programming, with and so on. And then later on, I actually managed to join a real Unity team for a real AAA video game at real work, getting real money for it. And that game is coming out soon. Please buy it. It's Assassin's Creed Nexus on Quest 2. Yeah, if enough of you buy it, I get a raise, so please do. Yeah, and we have other people. I have one of our team members recently sent me paperwork, like he's in school, like in a trade school for IT, and we got it so that Overmare counts as his internship, like practicum, right? So every Friday he gets time to work for us and count it as real work. And there's other people who have like joined us for a hobby and then gone on to either work on other Pony projects or have gone to work in the industry, or both. What I learned at Overmare, I take to my day job, and what I learn at my day job, I take to Overmare, and that has been like a really good combination. And on Overmare, you get to experiment with things that you might not be able to at your day job because of time constraints, or what role you're in, or bureaucracy, or whatever else. And yeah, you get to the meme today nowadays is like that to get like a entry-level job, you need 5 years of experience in a technology that is 2 years old, right? So a project like a passion project, like a hobby project, like either Overmare or another, is a great way to get that, and it will be, something. It's not just you're doing it for the sake of it, it's also rewarding in itself. It's ponies, right? That's why you're here. So there's ponies in Ashes of Equestria. Yeah, and on that note, I guess, please join us. We're looking for animators, right? So we got the animators, you saw the rig, but some of the animators then moved on to their life, and we could use some more animators again. Lately, our concept artist team, so like 2D, the people who draw, right? Like, we need things to be, to help the modelers' imaginations to make things. We need people to draw the stuff first, what's needed, like the details, the design, we're trying to maintain this sort of 1950s style of like brutalism, and kind of like a little bit we're inspired by Portal 2, the old labs, who has ever played that game. It's like this concrete and brown wood, and basically we need people who can draw things and imagine things to help us. We need level designers. We have some already, but Ponyville is big, and the Stable 2 is big, and there's going to be a bunch of other locations that are big, like within Ponyville, right? Like right now we have no interiors in any building in Ponyville. No, actually we do have some, but it's like very bare bones, and we need people to, fill that all out. We need programmers. I can always use more programmers. We have some, but again, more is better. The more programmers we have, the faster we go through all the bugs that we have ourselves put in, and the sooner the Wave 6 can come, I guess. For programming, it's Unity, it's C#, but if you don't have like when I joined first, I had some C# experience, but zero Unity experience, and that's where I learned. So you can do the same. So if you're not already amazing, that's okay. I'm willing to teach you in return of some years of your life on this project, right? And importantly, we need sound engineers. Our sound team, there was no sound. in the demo, in large part because we currently don't have any active sound engineers. So we are using Fmod, which is like a middleware for, it's kind of like Fruity Loops, except instead of a song, it's like you plug it into the game and the game sends, you know, like stuff collided or door opened or whatever, and then you bind that to a sound and tweak the knobs to make it sound good and so on. So we need people to do these things. And we need testers. We can always use more testers. And that is the, like, if you have like no useful skills, but you're willing to, you know, you're willing to learn and put in the time, we can teach you to be a good tester. All that's needed is discipline and ability, like some time in your week that you can consistently put in and do the work, right? Because like every piece of work that programmers, animators, modelers, everybody makes has to be reviewed by the testers, right? So like the testers are the ones who keep the quality of the product high. Yeah. That's basically everything. Theovermare.com, at the top of the website is the link to the Google form to fill in. The important things is you do need a Google account because we're using Google Drive for many of our documentation, and you need Discord account because Discord is where we coordinate. Yeah, everything else is teachable, installable, we'll figure it out. And with that, thank you for your time, except it's time for questions, if you have any. Like guys with the equipment, do the things.
Hello there.
Hello.
I'm Corin Crack. I'm interested in doing the sound design for the game, or helping at least, because you need some sound engineers, so...
There's a URL.
Yeah, just wanted to say I could hit you up.
I'll be waiting.
Hello, Ansys.
Hello.
How is the Linux support of the game right now?
We used to do Linux builds, so like the game builds for Linux, but it doesn't run. Currently, currently it depends on DirectX 11, which Linux doesn't have. We could put it, like basically, if a programmer who's really good at Linux joins and is willing to put in extra work and does not need to be babysat on that, if such person shows up and says, hey, I'm gonna make sure the game runs on Linux, I have no objections to that.
I might be that person.
There we go.
All right, so I'm New Leaf. I have played your game a couple times on the channel, and I was wondering, going forward, we've seen the interior of the stable. Is there going to be other interior areas that are planned going forward?
Yes. I expect, or like the aspiration is that most houses in Ponyville will have interiors, right? So we will have a few unique locations, like Stable 2 is one, there's the Town Hall, the Dam, such places, but most will be houses that we sort of assemble, we have a guy working on the Lego pieces that most of the houses in Ponyville, like this, unique Ponyville style, but they're similar, it will be assembled out of, and these pieces will come with interiors. Some, of course, will not be accessible, some will, of course, it's pointless to have an interior if there is then no gameplay inside, right? Like no enemies, no loot, no puzzles, no nothing. So we might have, we might skip interiors for places where we don't have content, but other than that, there's no problem with that. We can have interiors.
So I was wondering about the way the game is, the game runs. about the optimization. Are there any plans to like remove the fog of war of the games or things like that?
Remove fog.
Like the fog in the game that is very
We will tweak it, but I don't think we will ever remove it. Because, yeah, like, otherwise you can climb, like, a tower or a hill, and then, like, the whole map is only 2 kilometers, though, so like, you could reasonably see it, and then if all that needed to be rendered, we'll see about that. Like, but probably no. Probably fog stays, because it's also kind of fitting, because one of the central elements of Fallout Equestria is that it's always overcast, rainy, wet, you know, and fog fits in there very well, and it like adds to the mood.
Okay, thank you.
And it's like, of course, it's a very convenient trick for us to skip rendering some things.
I'm curious about like the testers. Is it more like play testing, or is it more like code testing, integration testing?
The latter. So mostly, right, the process is, for example, a programmer picks up a task, right, to like fix a bug or implement this feature. And then the feature is not considered done until a tester has come over or like gotten the build, like the build with that feature in, tested it and confirmed that it works and doesn't break anything else. So that's the most of the testing that we do. Playtesting we do basically when a new wave, like when we release a new wave, we come to conventions with like laptops or PCs and let the public play. Yeah.
All right, so then the next logical question is, do you have 100% test coverage?
No. Nobody does.
Yeah, nobody does.
Unless you're like, I don't know, doing like nuclear reactors in real life or
yeah,
like
but
whatever.
This is nuclear.
It's imaginary nuclear.
Well, I am waiting for the 110% test coverage.
Well, join us and fight for 100% test coverage.
I'll look into it, but no promises.
Hello. So going back to the interiors for a bit, will some of the interiors employ TARDIS technology? Like the library is pretty big in the fan fiction. Will some buildings be bigger on the inside?
I hope not.
All right.
The aspiration, like I personally, it's a debate we have like every few months on the team. I'm fighting for that. Basically, when you start new game, you enter Ponyville, there are no loading screens anywhere, right? So you go through it, you can open a door, you can see into it, and it's like, you know, it's all fits. Yes, there are problems with the library because of this. Library is kind of tough cookie, but like, I don't think we have really tried yet very hard to make it work before giving up. We'll see.
All right.
You were talking earlier about rain and all that. So my question would be, all their plans in place for the outside world to like have this shimmery, rainy looking stuff. Is the weather there and those effects we now know from many titles where everything reflects and stuff like that?
Very big maybe. The real like this is one of the features like I wish Irvin, our lead game designer, was here, but he's a big believer that everything that's in the game should serve the game and should not be purely decorative, right? Yeah. So if we're gonna have rain, what's gonna be the impact? Do campfires get snuffed out because of rain? I don't know, can you set things on fire? Or rain, like can you, I don't know, fill up a bucket or something? We don't want, like if the rain is going to be purely decorative, then we will not have rain, is the answer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so my question is on the project level, how do you manage scope creep and decide what features to actually focus on or cut potentially?
So the main cut we've done is to limit the size of the world, right? It's just Ponyville. The original team with the original plan was intending to do the whole Fallout Equestria, which included the whole of Equestria. Personally, I fight against scope creep. I don't always win. So for example, stable, I was against it. But everybody else was in for it, so I was outvoted. But at least, I don't know. Do you guys think it was a mistake to have stable 2 in Ashes of Equestria?
Not at all.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, it is coming at something else's expense. What exactly that is, not sure. Actually, I guess in that list, producers or like managers, if any are in the room, that's also would be like people like them. Like basically, the game is so big and there's so few of us, and we're working in our free time that we kind of do not have the capacity to like basically it would be a full-time job for several people to sort of fully scope out the game to have like really good idea of how big it is. And since we don't have those people, we have not done that. So the next best thing we do is I try to go like by heuristics, right? So like, for example, one way I hope to avoid scope creep is that, so I said like no TARDIS buildings, right? Why? Because then there's no loading screens. If there's no loading screens, it means the whole world can just be in RAM, and we'll just ask you like minimum specification of this game, 32 gigabytes of RAM, right? And it's like, well, the game is free, so right, like the $60 you saved, you know, you can buy some more RAM. And so basically we will, yeah, like we will optimize, like the main thing that I'm sort of trying to control scope with is that we're trying to make it so that it needs less optimization work, right? So everything is loaded when the game starts, everything is alive there, and like the only things are like rendering is loaded, but that's like something Unity does automatically. But yeah, yes, it's a tough battle against most, because like so that's, like we're really fans of our own work, so it's very hard to like, and also like, I don't know, I feel bad being the person always that like, hey, let's not do this, we can't afford this, no, and like everybody's like, oh, this is awesome. Ooh. And yeah, it's tough.
Sounds like issues of managing a passion project. Thank you very much.
Hi, on the topic of RAM, I noticed some of the debug information you had up there running. Is there a specific hardware spec you're like going for so that a person who wanted to eventually try out the game didn't have to have like the most modern PC that's running the latest gen hardware and stuff?
Well, the strangely good news is that we will probably take long enough to finish this game that the latest, most expensive PC today will be old by the time we're done. So no problem.
So you won't like move on to utilize more powerful hardware that will give you more like freedom so that you didn't have to optimize as much? As you said before.
That's already, like optimization is something we do right now, at least, only when we ourselves need it, right? Like when I don't know, it takes too long to load the project or takes too long to build or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, like I guess the min spec is kind of like, I don't know, let's say a discrete graphics card with like 8 gigs of RAM, and I'm gonna say like 32 gigs of main memory. That's like,
yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I got messaged by a person while here asking when is the next wave, like wave 6, and as soon as we can. It's coming. It's coming. Like, yeah. But like every time I give a date, I've turned out to be wrong. So I don't know. Though, like, I think we have a streak of releasing. I'm YOLO. I'm just gonna like. I don't know. I'm gonna apply. I'll probably apply for a panel at next year's Equestria, and we released Wave 5.5 at Equestria 2019 or 20, something like that. Yeah. Well, maybe it's a combo. That's like I'm wishing. But reality, like, join us, then it will come out. Okay, looks like no more questions, so thank you for coming. Thank you for your support. Spread the word. If you have useful skills, join us. If you know somebody who has useful skills, tell them to join us. Other than that, just talk about it. Now that Twitter is kind of like in a disaster area, the Mastodon instance we're on is pony.social. Pony.social at Overbear. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming.
Don't let me down. Don't break this heart of mine. Don't let me drown. Love, I've given my all. Don't push me to the edge. Don't let me fall. I waited so long for you to come along. Oh, love, could it be you? Where have you been, my friend? Were you searching too? Love, so glad that you're here. I'll take you by the hand. We'll disappear. I'm so glad you're here with me.
Night falls over town. The witching hour crashes in and all the monsters walk about. And I know that it'll all turn out alright. Wheel of God's the ones who make their rain and sunlight. But we pass them by without a worry or care, 'cause we know there's a whole nother world out there. And I know it'll all turn out alright. Wheel of God's the ones who make their rain and sunlight. But we pass them by without a worry or care, 'cause we know there's a whole nother world. And I know where we're heading tonight. That small clearing lit by firelight. We'll act like animals until the break of dawn. And on we'll be singing.
It's been far too long. Can I still hear your voice? And I'll sing your song. Do not want to suck it out perfect and then immortality's a curse written in stone. So each day.
I was prepared to do my best. Thought I could handle any test. For I can do so many tricks, but I wasn't prepared for this. Levitation would have been a breeze. Facts and figures I recite with ease. The square root of 546 is 23.366642891009.
He is correct.
Like 4 minutes, right? It's on?
Yeah.
I could ace a quiz on friendship's bliss, but I wasn't prepared for this. Will I fail or will I pass? I can't be sure. My mind is sharp, my skills intact, my heart is pure.
This is working.
what exactly?
Something tells me my life is about to change, like I'm never going back, and I feel as if nothing will be the same, as if everything goes black. Call me out if it seems like I'm paranoid, well it extends beyond the eye. There's so much fear inside. That I would find myself where I began. How high is the chance of running round in circles now and then? Maybe it's all in my mind, but it's about time I read the signs. Oh, it's about time. It's about time.
Push one time when it's red. Red
Oh, yeah, when it's muted.
What if all that I do is insignificant? What if nothing matters now? I would take back the time wasted if I could, but I don't even know how. All my worries have led me to emptiness, but at least I've been around. At least it's over now. What are the odds that I would find myself where I began? How high is the chance of running round in circles now and then? Maybe it's all in my mind, but it's about time I read the signs. Oh, it's about time. It's about time.
So yeah, hello and welcome to Modern Brony Music. I'm Provox. Here we have...
I'm 12. Not usual.
And I'm Black Ice Music. Yeah, and today we'll be going through a bunch of the ways that you can find Brony music being released in the community currently. So one of the first places I would recommend is horsemusicherald.com. They write articles about different tracks that are released, and they have a really good tagging system where you have the more wider categories like electronic rock, and also specific categories for covers and remixes and original tracks, and even further than just all of these that they have specific tags for, they also have at the end of, together with the track, they have a genre marked for it. So for example, if you want a dubstep track,
It's not dub.
Oops, dubstep. Yeah. There we go. We can search, and we will find a bunch of results. So let's see. What should we listen to first? Some deep dubstep. Sure, we can go with that. That will also be a nice segue into another thing we can talk about. What? Excuse me?
What?
That works. And yeah, if you have anything to say about the track, feel free to shout it out.
Shout out to PSFM.
And if you want to just take the mic and ask questions, you can also do that. And I've put some Horse Music Herald business card on the stage if you want to get some. Shout out to PSFMR over there for that song.
that was a track by PSFMR of the latest Ponies compilation album. So that's a good segue to talk about that. Let me just find the link there. There we have it. Well, Ponies. So 12 is one of the people running Ponies, so she might have something more to tell about it.
So yeah, Ponies is a compilation album that makes, compilation album with a bunch of people getting in it, mainly based on anything related to relaxing music or like chill music or any genre that you can actually relax to, whatever it is, like experimental it can be, if I personally can relax to it, and the other stuff of course, but so yeah, it's mainly like chill music, lo-fi, drum and bass, even psytrance a little bit, and as you saw, we even have like deep dubstep with PSFMR, and so yeah, we just been releasing albums for over 2 years, I think.
When was the first one?
I don't remember.
2019, so 4 years.
Oh, oops. But yeah.
Well, soon to be 4 years, December 2019.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good musician on there, definitely. And yeah, if you want just music to chill to, like, you know, lo-fi radio, 24/7, blah blah blah. We used to have that too, a 24/7 radio that is actually not there anymore for the moment, but we'll bring it back at some point, and just a 24/7 YouTube radio for just pony chill music when you work or when you whatever you want to do. So yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of compilation albums, it would be criminal not to mention Ponies at Dawn, the biggest compilation album currently, and I'm pretty sure also ever in the pony fandom. That even the best-selling Ponies at Dawn album has passed the original Balloon Party, which was probably like the originator of these pony compilation, big compilation albums, and. It's a bunch of music, like the latest one has 76 tracks, and you can get it for the amazing price of free, or even just $1 for their entire discography, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 28 of these compilation albums, with like the earliest ones are a bit smaller, and the later ones are in the like 60, 70 track range. So you have hours upon hours upon hours of great pony music to listen to. So if you have not at all been keeping up with pony music lately, that's a great place to start, because it's a lot of it and it's really good. So, yeah.
And also there's the thing that Ponies at Dawn doesn't only take one genre or chill music in general, like Ponies at Dawn have everything you want. So if you want dubstep, there is dubstep. If you want drum and bass, there is drum and bass. If you want metal, there is metal also on Ponies at Dawn. So you can just take a little bit of your time just to listen one album and just five the song you like and add them in your playlist, and that's it. It's super easy actually to get anything you want.
And so yeah, I'm gonna do a thing here where give me a number between 1 and 76. 14. Well.
15 with me.
What?
15 with me.
Here with you, everything feels easy. Call me up, make me never feel needy. Sweet goodbyes, think I'll never feel alone. Call you up, asking if you're busy. Sultry voice making me feel dizzy. Hearing sweet love drip from your side of the phone. And I can't get you off my mind. And I just wish love wasn't blind. Cause
yeah, who was the Demography Encore this year?
Same page.
Yeah. Did you enjoy Calibers and the Pegasus sets there? Great.
Inside your mind, what fears and doubts you think I'd find? Just let it go, that pain you know, and waste some time with me in Afterglow. With you, it can never be easy. Spending weeks taking turns being greedy. Running home just to feel a little less alone. Call you up asking if you're busy. Anxiety making me feel dizzy. Hearing no hint of love on that side of the phone. But I can't get you off my mind. Despite the way you pay no mind. I try, but it's all in my head. But the way I feel discarded, it's almost like I'm dead. If I could dive inside your mind, what fears and doubts you think I'd find? Just let it go, that pain you know, and waste some time with me in Afterglow. If I could dive inside your mind, what fears and doubts you think I'd find? Just let it go, that pain you know, and waste some time with me in Afterglow.
So yeah, what did you think about that track? And yeah, next up, I want to present one of the other places to keep track of like what kind of music do people in the fandom currently like, and for that we have the Top Brony Music YouTube channel where each month at the beginning of each month they open up a Google Forms for you to submit votes for any of the tracks of the last month, and then they release these top 10s, and this latest one for August was just released yesterday, so we're gonna go ahead and check that out.
So long, why can't you see that it's just a man for me? I know it might be wrong, but I'm in love with buttons. Fly, I looked at her and said that's who I wanna be like. I'm gonna let it fly. I'm gonna touch the sky, saw wings. I saw her, she took flight. I looked at her and said that's who I wanna be like.
Time couldn't be more right. Twilight's golden nights, birds of paradise.
Everything seemed to be perfect from the start.
I can't bring you back.
All the times you listened, even when I was undeserving, you shared more than enough, and all without condition. Thank you for the love.
Lasers out.
Everybody want to party tonight. Don't put the bass and play it tight. 'Cause everybody want to party tonight.
Let me take to the sky. Did the world won't bring me down? 'Cause one day I'll learn to fly. Have you guessed my name? Have you heard my fame? If not, then that's a crying shame. 'Cause it's time to play, and I'm here to stay. Nothing you can do. I'm sorry.
So yeah, congrats to Iggy for being part of the top one. This
is rigged.
But yeah, as you might have noticed, the votes are actually really close. So if you listen to a lot of pony music and then feel strongly about what's good, then you probably have a lot of power to change the results in coming votes. So yeah. What else? So there's a lot more compilation albums than just Ponies at Dawn. There's, for example, Pinkamena Party, which is for way more experimental and hardcore stuff. Equinity is another one that's more general, with mainly focused on electronic music, but submissions of other genres also get in.
Equinity is just the meme place to be. It's just memes and memes and memes.
I mean, Equinity is well known for, during their judging streams, that they will also, people will just submit just complete memes that are not intended to get onto the album, but are really funny to listen to, and see Greyfade react to it.
But yeah, I'm saying memes and memes, but it's still actual really good music on those albums. So yeah.
Yeah. Equestrian Terror Corps is another one that's also the very hardcore kind of music. With then we have Japan Pony Party is one of a few more regional compilation albums that try to focus on artists from a certain country or a certain region of the world. And another one like that is also Equestria, which is specifically focused on the Chinese side of the fandom, which overall doesn't get that much exposure over here in the West, because a lot of them release either on Bilibili or I think it's NetEase has a like kind of a similar service to Spotify. That I've seen a few Chinese pony musicians release music too. When I try to find like what other places are these artists that are featured here on Equestria on. Balloon Party is a very long-running one. It was gone for quite a while before last year making a comeback. A State of Sugar is also a pretty big one, and they do also just pretty much whatever kind of music you want can be submitted there. Dust Car is they have a like a Discord server for where they every 2 months they have a prompt and you're supposed to like in those every 2 weeks every 2 weeks they have a prompt, and in those 2 weeks you're supposed to make a track relating to that prompt, and then they go and listen through them all and vote amongst themselves like what are their favorites. But they also in 2021 did a charity album featuring a bunch of artists in that community. My Little Remix used to be a pretty big pony music forum that, you know, as the internet evolved and forums became less and less relevant, that place also kind of died out. But 2 years ago, they had their like 10th anniversary compilation album of doing for the 10th time their old Brony versus Brony remix war, where people decide to remix each other's tracks. So yeah. And yeah, this whole spreadsheet that I have up here is a spreadsheet that Lockrock maintains. He's a musician and also like a concert manager of a bunch of the American pony conventions. And aside from this compilation album tab, we also have this singles tab, which is literally all the pony music being released. So we can just scroll down here. Let's not even scroll with the scroll wheel, just to have an idea. And we're still only 2022.
23.
Yeah, this goes back to 2022. So since the beginning of 2022, we have had 2,863 tracks at the very least. There might be a few that he's missed still.
Wow.
But yeah, so with this, I would want some volunteer. All you need to do is to point at something on the screen. So if anyone wants to come up to the microphone.
548.
Oh,
148.
oh, sure. That's also a way we could do it. What I had thought to do was to just have someone pick out a name they did not recognize, so that we could have something that's new to them. But 548.
Is that like a published spreadsheet?
Yes, it should be available at least. It's available linked in a public Discord server that I can share. Yeah, but I can also just, yes, this link should be just anyone with the link can view it. So, 548, Electrocaplosion Sea of Song. So, let's see. Mears.
Another voyage around the sun, another measure in the sea of song. A pearl star says a grain of sand, but I've been kicking and screaming, can't fight off the feeling that dust is all I am. Gashes to gashes, rust to rust. Cut through the heart to prove it's not robust. Don't say the toll collected is just fine. Drunk off of water, I turn to wine. 30 winters have come and gone. The snow melted into the sea of song. I tried
yeah, the spreadsheet is also pretty handy because it also, along with compilation albums, it's also compiles like just a lot of artists' individual albums. This is probably not nearly a complete list of what's been released since like 2021, end of 2021, beginning of 2022, but still also a good place to find. So yeah. Speaking of Luckrock, he also, aside from that spreadsheet, also has these playlists of all the Brony songs that he's been maintaining since the beginning of 2022, and he also does these top 100 panels at American cons. I think it's usually been TrotCon that he presents them at, and then also has playlists for those. So yeah. Then moving on. Similarly to Vibe Ponies, there's Drumscape Library, which is a YouTube channel dedicated to drum and bass music in the fandom.
Drumscape Library, hello.
I'm seeing some of the people running it over there in the audience. So yeah, they have not super actively been uploading tracks right now. A few months ago. What?
That's one way to put it.
But I guess we could still listen to something, so what should we do?
Huh? I heard Bang Pain, yeah. Bang Pain is a good idea.
Bang Pain, yeah? So yeah, moving on. I want to talk a bit about this website called Pony Music Wiki. It's a bit of still a work in progress, but it is a database just of tracks being released that has then also easy that you can then click on an artist, say, and then you get all of their tracks, and it also then it also has a feel for like who else worked on it. Say if it's a remix of someone else's track, you can go to their stuff and find their tracks or other remixes. But yeah, it's still a bit in development and mainly only being updated by the site's developer itself, Bramble Shadow, but still a pretty nice and cool project that hopefully gets some more attention to it. There's Pony.fm, which is a bit like SoundCloud, but just for pony music. There's not that many people that like use it, and finding the really good stuff is therefore also a bit hard, but some people do also provide their download links for their tracks there, and specifically, and I've also seen some people even do, like here for example, by Avol, Pony.fm exclusive download that is not up on YouTube at all. So if you want to really dive deep, you can go there to try and see what you can find. Then we have some pony radio stations. The main one being Ponyville FM. It's probably the biggest one. They have just a non-stop radio stream of music and and a schedule of a bunch of DJs that have their shows on there, and also at times host special events like the Ponies at Dawn release parties. There's Pony Live, which is a bit of an outdated site, like it's a shell of its former self, sadly, and I don't think I'll be able to get onto it like this because it's redirected too much, but that would have been at least the one good thing. The one thing it's still good for is being a repository of all the different radio stations in the fandom. Equestria Daily also has a section for music. They're a bit with like getting everything out there, but still can be a good way to find some stuff. And then I want to try something that for this whole panel concept, I'm bringing a new thing to it. It's the Wheel of Genres. So, and as I have prepared a bunch of tracks here of different genres and this whole wheel, and I'm gonna spin it and we'll see what we'll listen to. Okay, Neurofunk, let's see where I have that. There we have.
Hey.
Shout out to Tripod.
I dreamt I was a ghost. A ghost in the dream.
Well, okay then. So let's head back to Horse Music Herald and do a thing. Someone give me a genre. Bounce? Bounce.
I think there's only one person that make bounce.
No, there's way more than one person.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That one over there is a good one.
That one? That one?
That one, yeah.
I mean, yeah, we could play this one.
You already heard it. Kidding.
Sounds so soft and sweet, sweep you up with free. Almost like you lost your mind. Don't you everything? I swear it's sleeping in. You're so deep within a spell that you forget to breathe. So I'm trying to find a beat that feels so heavenly. In the down and in the sun, I live a perfect shape. Now when I say jump, you say we're on, we're on, yeah. Seven song, baby, don't you hear my seven song, feeling now and hear my seven song, baby, don't you hear my seven song, I'll take it all, seven song, baby, don't you hear my seven song, feeling now and hear my seven song, baby, don't you hear my seven song.
Okay, someone else got a genre? Eurobeat.
That's reggae.
I mean, it's a reggae of a Eurobeat Brony. It's gonna find a lot of. I mean, there is a recent Eurobeat Brony track that's actually.
BGM also?
Yeah. It is just, it's BGM, I don't know for sure with the lyrics. But yeah, I guess we can try.
found me over Tumblr last night. She said, raw history, so it's true love at first sight. Throw out my candy bracelets, now I'm headed to class. I'm still 20%, so get your head out your ass. I'm the internet, all the internet. Still cleaning up the viruses, tell you again. I think I'm falling in love again. Don't stop until you hear the boom. I'm the internet, all the internet. Been fighting on new grounds over if my love is valid. This is I'm not the kind of fly. Don't care you think it's cringe because it's not your life. Do you like waffles? I said, hell yeah. Been watching Equestria until 2 a.m. I ain't got no iPhone, but I got a DS. With a keychain, a pinky, her cupcakes are the best. I'm failing my classes cause I don't give a damn. They say the world is my oyster, but the free market's a scam. Everything's been changing since last generation was born. And they won't try to take and change it to a toy. It's not too late to fall in love with the world. Your past is not today, so say you're stronger than 12. Yeah, we've all made mistakes before, that's a fact of life. But once you restate your heart, it'll be just fine. Once your life is saying it's all mine, all mine. Following your friends and mommies at your heartbeat. When you drift to some shit, just block that internet freak. I'm the antonym of the internet. So cleaning up the viruses, tell you again. I think I'm falling in love again. Don't stop until you. I'm the antonym of the internet. Been fighting on new grounds over if my love is valid. This is I'm not the kind of fly. Don't care you think it's cringe because it's not your life.
But yeah, we are almost at the end, so I guess if anyone has any questions, feel free to come up and ask.
Yeah,
There's a mic over here.
So what I had in mind, or I had an idea, like what about vinyl pressings? I know the ponies at dawn, they are sitting in Australia or something, but I would love to see like this 10 best community voting. You know, I can imagine a sampler on vinyl record, or what I would love to see is a Violet Pony antonym on one side of a 7-inch, and on the second side the 12 remix, for example. You know, I would love to have that.
That for copyright, you have to ask Violet.
I know.
You have to figure it out. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I know Violet somewhat recently did like a limited pressing of one of her albums, and there has also been like funding projects to get like pressings of, for example, So Great and Powerful's The Standard Model.
Oh, she did that, but they weren't sold on Bandcamp.
Yeah, I don't think that was sold on Bandcamp. That was just. I don't remember exactly what the method of like obtaining that.
Just wanted to say.
Some vinyl, pony music on vinyl would definitely be a cool thing if more people did that.
Picture disc, you know.
Yeah, if I could say something about vinyls, is it's expensive to make.
Yeah, but you can also charge something for it. So
yeah, definitely. But it's like more processing and also different kind of mastering techniques. You have to get like you have to remake your whole mix of your song for a vinyl. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
so
didn't know that.
It's more processing and more time to take. So everyone doesn't have all the time because we bronies, we have a job at. I think not me actually, but I guess some people have a job and music is not the main thing. So
I see.
But I'm also want to see more vinyls.
Yes, I would love to see that. Thank you. Yeah, that's why I mean,
definitely.
Ponies at Dawn could probably do that.
It's possible, definitely.
That's a lot of money. Okay, sorry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just wondered if you had like any tips or advice for people trying to like get into the like music making career for like the fandom.
Well, there are tons of tutorials online. First of all, like YouTube tutorials that you can watch on how to get started with making your own music. There are tons of tutorials for different genres. I can only talk about electronic music because I only make electronic music. But then also in the fandom we have, for example, the Ponies at Dawn server, where you have a feedback channel. And you can just put your stuff in there and people, well, you need to give feedback to the person above you, but then people will also give feedback to you. And that helped me a lot when I started out to make my music better. I just got feedback from other people and then used that to get better. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
By the way, Reaper Gang. Yes.
FL11 gang.
Hi. We all know over the years a lot of musicians just outright disappeared. What is your take on like getting back that music that is just disappeared offline? Is there any like resource you would recommend to get that music back?
Yes, to some extent. Pony.fm has an older version of like a big pony music archiving project that then later spun off to its own site. But that site is no longer up, sadly, but they did have at least like a torrent file going around for the final release that they had.
Yeah, there's definitely some Pony archive on internet.
Yeah,
100%. I've seen some.
In some ways, that Pony Music Wiki that I showed off it was started as a kind of replacement to that Pony Music archive site because it solved the problem of like, hey, they're not hosting it itself; they're just showing like where it is, or at least like documenting that, hey, this track existed at some point somewhere available. There's also some channels on YouTube dedicated to keeping up tracks that have gone missing before in the community.
And if you need anything, just ask him. He have everything on his computer.
I have a lot of it. Something like 6,000 tracks in my own personal collection.
Time. Last one?
Yeah, last time.
But I was just super curious about what you have to be using some software to find your songs. When you have that giant list of songs, you have to be using some software to find that, because I saw my song up there and that has 7 views. So I know you didn't find that.
Yeah, I mean, this whole like spreadsheet is maintained by Luckrock. He has a Discord server where like once a week, him and a bunch of other people, me included, just decide to listen to all the music that has been released in the fandom during that week, and yeah, he tries to be subscribed to pretty much anyone in the fandom, and in his Discord server he also just has a channel dedicated to those music nights, where if someone has some channel to point out that he does not currently track, that hey, add this to your subscription list, they make pony music.
That's pretty interesting. Cool, thanks.
But yeah, one final thing I want to mention is that Horse Music Herald, they are looking for writers. So if you feel that you can write about pony music, then look that up, hit them up. They need more of them because as it is currently, there's quite a decent gap between a track being released and it getting an article on Horse Music Herald. So yeah, 12 had some business cards for them over there at the stage there, so grab one if you're interested. And I guess that's all, so thank you all for coming. And hope you all have fun listening to pony music and that this helped you find new avenues to finding more of it.
Find a place to start again, and laugh at jokes and play pretend. I wonder where you are. I'm empty and floating like I'm deep in space, away from every kind of place. Come find me. But sadly, the feeling ends. I'm falling now and fading back into the crowd. I've only come so far. The band is tired, the throats are dry, but still they play. I wonder why. They see those shadows on the wall. The cracks run deep as pieces fall. Can we define a better end and be a better kind of friend? If not, I doubt we shall survive. I just want the truth to come alive. And I sure don't really want to live in this strange world. I need somebody beside me to live in this strange land. I need somebody to hide me away from these cruel times. Don't tell me to hold out for a miracle. Oh, I've been here for so long. Somebody just come and take me when the skies are blue. When you just wanna fly away, it's the sky blue. Come on now, hit it!
bright, to seize the day and seize the night. Lost in the shadows, wasting all my time. Thought it was hopeless, but oh, you changed my mind. Soon we'll dance the night away. All I want is for you to stay. If I could just freeze today, today. All I gotta do is try to hold you close and wipe the fallen tears when you cry. To see your face lighting up the darkness of night gives me hope. Everything'll turn out alright.
Before I was a butterfly, I was alone. And every step I take, another back. Ooh, how could I forget the magic that flows through me? But sometimes I feel lost, and I'm always back to here. I can feel it in my soul, the magic of friendship. Why can't I feel it now? And why is it so hard, hard to understand? We travel far and wide just to find that home was here all along. And every adventure is tucked right in my mind. Still I just can't fix myself. Ooh, I can't feel my heart. Guess I'm picking up the pieces it left. From the letters to the journal we wrote, I can't remember at all. You know that deep, deep down, I love you. But am I really that special? I guess I wanna be, but don't wanna lose all the magic of friendship. Why can't I feel it now? And why is it so hard, hard to understand? like the magic's gone. It's like the magic's gone. So I can't lose hope.
Once long ago I was born to the earth. I saw the fear in their eyes. They were told that one day I'd bring change to this world. My face they hid from the skies. Let me tell you the tale of a time long untold, when the wolves had run wild and the land grew old. Hard for our hearts as we wandered the plains, with nothing and no one to blame. So long ago. Once long ago, when the magic was lost to the ones who would use it for few, every spell was a game against harmony's ways. We took it and gave it to you. Gathering strength from the friends that we'd meet, we traveled the nations from sea to sea, the mountains and forests and wandering plains, and this is a land that we take.
Minus the timer. Wonderful.
Live by the night, but stay by my side. Free. Live by my side once again. Long were the days, oh so long was my reign. Cause nothing and no one could take your place. Dear sister moon, it's for you that I wait. Right here in the land that we take.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Good morning.
Apparently, I can't turn off my mic, so I'm gonna have to be way careful not to think out loud. Welcome to the How to Build Your Own Pony Robot, featuring SweetieBot. Before we begin, I just wanted to ask real quick, did anyone came to this panel thinking it would be the SweetieBot project? One. Wonderful. It's not that one. It's the other one. The one with the bubble gun. So, I'll just do a quick summary of the presentation. I based this presentation on the questions I was most frequently asked while going around this convention and others. So where does this idea come from? How did she precisely came to be? You're going to see some embarrassing photos of the first prototypes. Why would she be half a car? Also a quick part about, well, maybe not so quick unfortunately for me, a quick part about the less fun parts of building RoboPwns. So about the fact that everything breaks. You might have noticed I have to tow them. She's online, yeah. But the wheels don't work that well. That's a prime example of the fourth point. What are the future projects? And to end, I'll answer the question, should you build one? And I'll have some time for your questions. A quick summary before I begin. Before this one existed, does anyone here does not know friendship is witchcraft? One as well. For now, one person has answered both my questions. That's fine. The other would know, but I'm gonna do, then I'm glad I did this quick summary. Basically, Friendship is Witchcraft is a parody of My Little Pony, one of the first, one of the earliest of the fandom in 2011, I think, where among the other things, among the other gags, Sweetie Belle is a robot. Oh, there's no sound. That's a problem. I don't know if the sound of the computer is supposed to be broadcast. Wait. Whoops. Zurück. But I'll have other, I'm sorry about that. I'll have other small snippets later. So in the parody, Sweetie Belle is a robot, and that has inspired a team of Russian engineers to build their own one, which is the Sweetie Belle project I was talking about earlier, which is also way more professional than mine.
You can play the video again to explain what friendship is. Witchcraft.
Let's go then. And now my mouse is not working anymore. That's wonderful.
Things breaking.
Yeah, well, that's one of them, apparently.
I think it's focus on application.
All right,
Engineering in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's not in focus anymore. That's why. All right, well, I'll beg you to forgive me. There'll be a small mouse at the corner of the screen, if she doesn't go away. There. So, the video. No. There. Still no. Well, if it doesn't work at the next one, I'll improvise something out. But this one was a parenthesis, so it's no big deal. But yeah, that's the first thing breaking. That's also the other things. If I leave a blank, you know the word that's supposed to go in the blank is break, or broken, or breaking. So, they build a super cool pony robot, way cooler than her. Aww. And their robot inspired me to build her. I discovered their project. Why is the mouse moving on its own? It's you, sorry. I discovered their project, and I wondered, what if I build one? I had no prior experience in electronics, and I wonder how far I could go just trying to do my stuff in my own corner. So the first question was, what does it take to build a pony robot without any knowledge about electronics? So obviously you have to have financial resources, some free time, you need to balance your work rhythm, and you need perseverance to solve problems. Or you need abyssal self-control for impulse buying, enough disorganization to do the RoboPwn instead of what you should be doing. You also can replace the balance worth rhythm with just hyper-focusing on the pawn. And you can replace the perseverance with just dismissing the stuff that doesn't work and replace it with new stuff that doesn't work, but not in the same way. Also, that's a funny acronym these words are doing there. I wonder if that's linked with the fact that I'm non-stop moving on stage. Anyway, so I told you you were going to see some nightmarish pictures of the first prototypes. My first reasoning was, I don't know anything, no problem. If I buy random stuff, it'll just work. And articulating legs are easy. Absolutely not. That thing was barely able to stand up for 5 seconds before breaking down. And I'm not even talking about how it looked or how it was. So, from this point, I went, okay, let's set the cursor really back about the ambitions. And I arrived to the version 1, spring of 2019. I took it to a convention in Switzerland, and the question, wait, that's supposed to be a unicorn. If I didn't tell you it was SweetieBot, I don't think you would guess. She has the horn, but she might be more Pinocchio than Sweetie.
White color, green eyes, that narrows down what color it is, I think.
Honestly, you're the first one to tell me that. So, as you can see, since I couldn't get the legs moving, I just decided to put her on wheels. The wheels aren't even the legs. And yeah, she really was as barebone as there is. There are only 3 things that are remaining from this first version on this one. The styrofoam head, and the air vent neck. As you can see from its post stat, it is 3 years old. I'll have to replace it someday. I'll add that to my to-do list. And there is also the best feature, which should be working. Oh, nice! After me, it's... Thank you. No, I don't know what it's not working, but there is supposed to be a small finger, and it is supposed to just jump out from SweetieBot. There is something, I think. Yeah, you can see it. Luckily, it's above all your belts. So, then we arrived to nothing happened for a while. I wasn't really able to go to conventions. And after lockdown were lifted and the convention resumed, I got to the version 2. It's what the version 1 should have been. And as you can see, she's already way more recognizable. She has the same mane, the same ears, the same tail, and she was already the same rear lights, and she was already starting to get her key defining characteristics, which I'll talk about later. And she also had the fancy the fancy wheels, which are... Thank you. So this was the first, I could have called the earlier one the version 0, and this one the version 1, to be honest. But then we jump on to the version 3, which had all the key defining characteristics, the double wheels for each leg, which I'll again talk about later, the lights, which are not only with fancy animations, but also have all the car shenanigans. Yeah, the clicking is a real relay, actually. So it really makes the same sound. obviously, again, the bubble gun. And it's not broken. It was at Epona Fest, though. Then we arrived to the current version. If I can get my mouse, wonderful. The version 3.9, which is the current version you have in front of you, and the blinker is stuck on. That's not a bug, that's a feature. She has USB-C charging, so I was able to charge. It was a pain to get the right combination of cable, charger, and module sync, but I was able to charge her at 28 volt, 140 watts, which means unicorns got USB-C ports before iPhones. And she also has, as you might have seen, an e-ink display for a mouse, which allows me to change her expression and also give you a few nightmares. This one's better. And she also has Bluetooth audio, which you can see because the glue came off. The glue is broken. But I am able to play audio from her. It's obviously way less cool than the amazing bass cannon that's also hanging out there. But she can play a little bit of audio, not very loud. Which brings to the question, as you can, right, I forgot that. As you can see, she also has a license plate. It's a parody of a Swiss license plate, and she doesn't have it right now, because you might know that my panel is at the same time as the signing session, and yesterday I was busy fixing everything that was. So I couldn't attend to yesterday's signing session. So I was incredibly lucky to find someone who was planning to go on the signing session, and I handed that person her license plate. So hopefully, SweetyBolt will be signed without me being there. The funniest thing is it's not the first time that happens. So why does she have a car? Why does she have the turn signals, the headlights, the license plate? Maybe one day a second horn, not the unicorn horn, the honking horn. Well, and here I hope the sound works. Else I just come near the laptop with my microphone. She's on wheels because of the previously stated the articulated legs doesn't work statement. I just wanted at first to find cool lights for her, and these lights were first motorcycle lights. So they had all the wiring necessary for them to become blinkers. And as you can see, the one on the other side is... Let's turn back to what's working. And the third reason that inspired me, I'll go near the computer just in case. I don't know where the speaker is, but I'll get real close. It's a single 5-second tune.
Might just be from a different perspective, but why exactly do the wheels on the picture there look different than here? And also, why does she have wheels on the back of her legs in this one? Will we get to that?
We will get to that, if not now, at the Q&A. But that's a very good point. These are the wheels from the first prototype, the one on the first image. And yes, I'll get to why the wheels aren't the same. There is a single 5-second joke in Friendship is Witchcraft, which was the sort of trigger for all of this. And so that's when I saw that joke again, I was like, yeah, I can push that slider to the extreme. I still need to add her that Karalam, though. So now it's part of her identity. As you see here, the license plate a bit more clearly, and that wonderful picture, she doesn't like gasoline very much. But as you can see, as you can imagine and have seen some examples, RoboPony building has downside. So what never broke on SweetieBot? There's one thing actually, which might mean I have put my safety priorities in the right place, or might just mean I'm terrible at designing non-moving parts because it's basically the only non-moving parts, but one thing has never broken, it's the battery. Everything else broke at least once.
Including hair and mane and such?
Oops. All right, so wonderful. I went to the next slide without even thinking about it. There are a few examples I'd like to show to illustrate what pain it can be. So the wheels, we'll get to that. The radio module, this one, and obviously the water. To get first with the wheels, these are omnidirectional wheels, Mecanum wheels in fact. They should be able to make SweetieBot go forward, backward, turn on the spot, and also slide side to side. If they weren't, thank you. The V2 version had Mecanum wheels. For the third one, I upgraded them. The problem with version 2 is I only had one Mecanum wheel per hoof, so it was offset. Therefore, the weight of SweetieBot meant the wheel were bent, and the side of the wheel was scraping on the ground, and so the omnidirectional part didn't really work. Because it's the rollers that allow her to slide and do the omnidirectional stuff. I'll see if she's cooperating, but I doubt it. Wrong, yeah, no. So I replaced them with metal ones, and I also added 2 per wheels. First problem, they kept detaching. Second problem, I thought the metal ones obviously were better than the plastic ones because they were more expensive. That had to mean they were more robust and they would last longer. That might be true for a properly designed robot that is driving only on smooth terrain. There, each vibration loosened the nuts a tiny bit, and so she kept losing all her rollers all around. Those who were at Epona Fest saw a prime example of that. And basically, the wheels kept self-destroying themselves as soon as they were used, which is a pretty bad plan, and that can be a good side because it means you can replace the roller instead of replacing the whole wheel, but given they disassembled themselves even when I was not trying to, that was not a good calculation. So I went back to the plastic wheels on her, because at least the metal shouldn't be bent by any impact. And you will be glad to know that despite all the jokes I did, it's not the wheels that are broken. Yesterday they were, but I had anticipated a stronger part, and they haven't broken at all yesterday. Instead, it's the motors that are getting broken now. So I'll have to get a look into that. Second example, this thing, I won't bother you with the name, but the problem is I can check if a signal is present or not. I can't smell the radio signal. So when it doesn't work, it's basically, I turn both things on, and they don't communicate, and I have no idea why. It could be because one of the modules is defective, It could be because one of the modules is not properly connected. It could be because I did something wrong in the code. It could just be, and that was something that happened a while ago, because something else entirely is broken elsewhere in the system, and for some unknown reason, because they don't share at all the same wiring, it impacts the radio module. Or it doesn't get precisely the voltage it wants. Which is funny actually for the people who know. I didn't figure that out because for the first versions, I was lucky. I bought third-party Arduinos, and they had a wonderful 3.33 volt rail. And as soon as I had to replace one, it stopped working. And obviously, since it worked with the first one, I was lucky, I didn't know what to look for, so I spent a while figuring that out. And even the real Arduino, genuine, which I tried buying because I figured that could be the problem, didn't work with it. So I'm guessing there was one really good quality clone I bought, and then everything else needed some power filtering. But yeah, it's really hard to troubleshoot. If you understand nothing, it's a good example of how hard it is to troubleshoot. It has a limited transmission size, so it can transmit 32 bytes per time the controller and Sweetie talk, which is a bit is a 1 or a 0, and a byte is 8 bits side to side. I colored the last ones to tell you something quickly. So the idea is you can have multiple variables. You can have, I'll go into the two that are interesting. A byte is any number from 0 to 255, which is, for example, the speed value are transmitted into bytes because they are varying from 0 to 255. And a Boolean variable, a bool, is just a 0 or 1. For example, the headlights turning on is a Boolean, 0 off. When I press the switch, 1 on. The problem, and that I didn't know until recently, a Boolean actually takes up 1 whole byte in space, meaning most of the zeros are just used for nothing. And I didn't know that, so I just kept adding more and more and more variables to turn on or off various stuff, until some variables started getting lost. The code handled them properly, but it's like they were never sent. And it's there I realized I had just exceeded the size of the packet. So all the bytes that were beyond the 32 first was just not taken into consideration. And I had to encode them into a Boolean. So, for example, I won't go into detail because it would take too much time, and I'm not sure you're here for that. But I had to basically get each Boolean into one of the zeros of a byte. And encoding and decoding that is relatively easy, except when the Arduino does its math incorrectly and starts telling me that 2 to the power of 6, which is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, should be 64, is 63. Wait, what? And it's not because of the first 0, because it really is supposed to give out 64. That's the second stuff. Apparently, the power function in Arduino spits out a decimal number. So it spits out 63.999999999, which is rounded down. Ask the Arduino makers, I have no idea. Yeah, it was sent straight to an integer, so round down, and obviously then that didn't work. Everything turned on and off at random, and yeah, that was a fun week to troubleshoot. And obviously, the water. In Friendship is Witchcraft, haha.
you're blind, you won't be able to bully any ponies anymore. Well, why do I have to be in the water?
The one time there was unscheduled rain which caught me by surprise, it was 1 week of disassembly and reassembly and drying everything. She was literally smoking under the rain. No. The advantage of them being under means I just had to disconnect them once I realized it was going wrong and keep carrying her under the rain. I had no other solution. But yeah, some modules died and were just boiling off the water that was onto them. That hasn't prevented me from doing jokes about it, though. So, now that we have caught up and you have gone more or less to her current state, the problem I have with future projects is, if you remember the previous acronym, my ideas come quicker than I can realize them if they are doable at all. Let's play a quick game. You'll have to guess which ideas are stuff that I more or less really plan to do, either next or maybe far ahead of the future if conditions get right, and the stuff I added just for the laugh for this presentation to trap you. I'll profit about that to drink some water. It's important. Guess for yourself, please, else I fear we won't have the time. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Wonderful. They are all real ideas. Some of them will require a NordVPN sponsorship to get done. If anyone works for NordVPN, hit me up. But they are all real, and I'm all thinking if I ever get unlimited time and resources, I want to do all of them. Including what? Including the violin. That would be a pain, but including the violin, yes? Actually, not broken anymore. Yeah. Actually, I'll come to that. Thank you. It's wait, that's not the good click. Right. So here are the real priorities, and here are the eventually stuff I want to make, but not right now. But it's next on the to-do list. I though might not be. I want to build a Scootabot, and the idea I have is to make her with horribly inefficient small EDFs, so she can fly for about 2 minutes with a huge battery pack by pumping literally thousands and thousands of watts. So horribly inefficient due to her small wings, just like in the show. But the Applebot might be a little more complicated regarding cease and desists. Thanks, Steve Jobs. I'll see what I can do, but I'll need to be able to call it something else than Applebot. Bloombot? Wouldn't. Thank you. That would be nice. So yeah, firstly, I need to get the direction and moving systems 100% reliable because I'm tired of spending my first day at any convention fixing her. I want to get her a voice for her to be able to voice over her videos. She has a YouTube channel, which I just realized I haven't put in the PowerPoint. That's very bright of me. I want to make her files all neat and make her open source, so you can build one if you want to experience all the fun stuff that will break. And basically, yeah, the SweetieBot projects, which are amazingly friendly guys, by the way. I'm on the Discord server, and they are really, really nice. I'll inform you, they are still making good progress. They have a bit of difficulty going to Western conventions and putting up content on Western platforms for reasons I won't mention. But yeah, they are making progress, and they are still working on their SweetieBot. But they are making a SweetieBot that is fully fledged and professional. And basically, I'm making a showbot, completely amateur, where nothing is fancily calculated or as few things as possible, because that's the development that takes really long. And instead, just make her a puppet and make her a YouTuber by putting her in front of a camera. Yes?
The picture that you showed before of the SweetieBot project, how big was that? If you could be figuring, how big was she? Because I think she was on a small table in front of a
I had a drawing, but if I remember correctly, can I get the...
I've just seen it. It's about the size of this.
Really? It's not Applejack sized?
Yeah.
I think it would be more...
It's more like Applejack sized.
All right. So yeah, that's what I figured. I asked them for the exact measurements, but obviously I don't have them stored here. But yeah, she's about this big, the other SweetieBot project.
The different versions have different sizes.
Thank you. Do you know the sizes?
This was correct.
Okay, about the Applejack plushie then. So, and she's also less heavy. I don't remember her exact weight, but she's about, I think, a third of mine. These horrible things which I had to carry by hand yesterday because she lost a wheel, weighs 12 kilos. I was tired. And eventually, yeah, Alicon Sweetie. And eventually, I want to make a Scootabot and a Bloombot. I want to make her articulated legs because if eventually I don't even have to carry her up and downstairs, that would be nice. And I want to make her a robust sound system. I'm not necessarily going head to toe with the bass cannon, but I'd like to be able for her to have sound effects that can be triggered on demand, voice lines, and so on. So yeah, about Alicon Sweetie. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I don't have the... I can't even get her legs to hold steady. So obviously, putting her real sturdy wings is beyond the questions. And with 12 kilos, she won't be able to take off without having some serious batteries and some serious weight. And then I'll probably be over the 25 kilo legal limit, and that's something I don't want to get into. However, if I'm not doing wings, but something else, and I can get her to be lighter, I might be able to do. So, this is the exclusivity. Yeah, it is, obviously. But she should weigh about 6, maybe 7 kilos once done, so considerably lighter. And basically, yeah, yeah, the 2 legs remain in the bag. I want the wings to be able to fold and unfold. And I will do my job for rigidity on this very part. And I have my drone license, by the way. That's the first thing I did. And I'll pop her up on the table. And Obviously, I didn't equip her with any batteries for any indoor demonstration. That's something I would not want the staff to be upset about, or the police. But yeah, so that's eventually going to fly, and that, I hope, is eventually going to turn into a unicorn with a selfie camera in the front that can literally vlog in the air. Beware, peep petals, I'm coming for you. So, the final questions. Ah, yeah, that's right. Here's the first takeoff. Wait, what? All right, that's bad, because that I wanted to show you. Please. Yes. I still need to tune the balancing. The nice stuff is now I know she has enough power to take off, because that was about 40% power. But yeah, the bad news is I need to tune my balancing. So, should you build one? You might want to, but not this one. Trust me. She is honestly. I spent way too much time on some stupid stuff, which I ended up solving in a super easy way. And I want to make her open source, but firstly, I want to make her reliable enough so I can just take her to a convention and leave the convention the next day without having to repair anything. Once that's done, she goes open source, you'll have access to all the files, and then if you want to build one, you'll have my blessing. Before that, if you want to build one, you have my blessing, but you're on your own. By the way, same thing for the flying one. Once she can fly reliably, she's also going open source. So, now that everything is done, oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the bottom wheels. The idea is no matter how robust I get these wheels and these motors and how reliable they get, they are never becoming all-terrain wheels. And I'd like to be able for her to drive on the outdoor pavement or any other environment that could be encountered, even maybe go vlogging in the Swiss Alps. So I need her to be able to have a robust all-terrain drive systems. And the idea, I won't be able to show you, unfortunately, because I had to screw it in place. Oh, wait, never mind, I can. Up. The idea is for the wheels to be able... Yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah. The idea is the hooves are supposed to incline and to get like that. And then she should be able first to reach speed of around, I think, according to my calculations, 15 kilometers per hour, which would allow me to literally make Sweetie's Big Race happen by running with her at a local race. That would be nice. But yeah, mostly have a backup reliable drive system. But unfortunately, that doesn't work for now. So, I'll now take the questions, but if I remember correctly, it has to be a queue on the mic, right? Wonderful. So now, I think for the recording, it's better if they talk in the mic, so the question can be heard. So now it's time for your questions. I'm done. She was happy to see you. Thank you. Unfortunately, she can't bend the bottom of her neck because it's... But she can do it with the top. All right. Let me drink a bit again. I won't. There.
Hello?
Hello?
Ah, it's working.
Wonderful.
So about flying, I wanted to ask if you plan to completely redesign everything before making her fly, or if you plan to reuse a lot of what you have here.
So I'll be able to reuse some of the files. For example, all the panels will probably be the same. I'll probably reuse this panel with some lighter material, but I won't redo the whole file. But yeah, most of the functioning mechanical stuff will be completely redesigned because, as an example, I really don't have the weight margin to make some fancy hooves like that. So I need to get some something that can drive all-terrain because obviously I'm going to go way more off-road with this one than with this one if I need to get her to take off from the middle of a field. But most of the parts will be redesigned and specifically engineered to be as light as possible.
And another little question, did you at any point consider using rockets for flying instead of helicopters?
That's a very good question. Unfortunately, I don't even know how to begin to search for that in Switzerland. And I also think, I'm not sure that I need to consult a lawyer, but I think it would be illegal without a special authorization in Switzerland. Thank you. Oh, I have the same camera.
Hi there. The presentation was brilliant and the demonstration of SweetieBot was incredible because seeing just a bot like that in real life is indescribably and positive.
Thank you.
The question I had about the rotors and her possible helicorn version, how exactly would you include that in the design? Because you showed it on wheels preparing to take off, but will it be added onto her back, or will you build an entire new frame around around the wheels and the propellers?
Right. Yeah, sorry, I realize now that it was clean in my head, but in fact, I never really said it. Basically, the plan is to have two identical, except for the whole giant propellers, SweetieBots and the hooves. So I'll have two of them. This one will, I won't take any of the parts from this one to put them into this one. At most, I'll reuse two of the same parts, but it will be a separate bot because of all the weight constraints and the fact that she was never optimized for weight. And so yeah, I'll have two of them identical. In the lore, she'll be the same one, the same mind, if you want. But yeah, the truth is I'll have two different bots with two different chassis and structures.
All right. And a follow-up question about the propellers, if I may. You showed us that the two front propellers or back propellers can fold in, but what about the one at the back? How will that be put into place?
Right. Actually, I'll try to tell you it as clear as possible, but else you'll just have to wait to see it done if it's not understandable. The idea is the rear one will remain like that, but I'll sort of do. I can grab it, in fact. I'll do my best to do to include it in the tail. As you can see, Sweetie's tail, both from the show and this one, has one outer big loop and one inner small loop. The idea is the rotation propeller will be included in the bottom loop, and the top loop of the tail will be rotated 90 degrees to circle this propeller. And it will be like this propeller is the outer loop of the tail, but rotated.
All right. Thank you for your answers, and best of luck with everything else.
Thank you.
For time, we will be ending the Q&A line.
This microphone stand does not want to adjust.
Ooh.
It's broken!
Yay! How did I forget that?
So I'll just thank you. First of all, really cool presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I was wondering, is SweetieBot right now including any sensors, or are there any plans to include sensors or cameras in the future and make it maybe a bit more autonomous or something?
That's the funny part, actually. As far as I understood the definitions, SweetieBot is not a robot. She, as far as I know, she's, we use the term robot interchangeably, but technically, as far as I know, she's an automaton, because yes, currently she doesn't have any sensors. So I'm doing all the processing in my head, but she's just taking the input and activating something with it.
Did you mean animatronic?
Animatronic, right, sorry. Yeah, thank you. So no sensors currently. I plan to eventually add some, when I'll want her eventually to get upstairs, I'll have to add sensor in each leg to detect the steps. I want to add some smarts in the head to be able to track faces, for example, and follow someone. Also, when displays are there instead of the eye, to follow someone with her eyes. So sensors will come, but only to support the showy part, and it's not intended to make her a real brainy robot. I leave that to the SweetieBot project.
I see. So just to clarify, right now she's using Arduino and the NRF communication module?
Yeah, exactly. Up an Arduino Mega, which is right behind the bubble gun. There.
Okay, yeah, I see. Cool, thank you.
For the camera as well. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck with your project.
Thanks a lot. Ooh, the tail is... That's bad. Ah, right. Okay. Next one.
Hello, congratulations for all the work and your presentation. I had a question about legal perspective. What are all the legal issues that you are, legal concerns that you are watching? And you told that there was a legal weight limit, and I realized that might be something with the drone part.
Yeah. That's a very good question, actually. For this SweetieBot, the existing one, honestly, I have no idea. Because I went from the fact that I did look through the Swiss law, and I was a bit puzzled because from what I could read, any remote control vehicle would be considered a vehicle and some regulation would apply. But at the same time, remote control cars are sold in Switzerland without registration or any homologation. Some are made. And I think the legislation on remote control stuff, except for flying remote control stuff, is pretty blurry. So I want to eventually get her into a remote control shop to ask whether I have to have any legal worries. But I have already taken her out in town. I have even, I think, once crossed a path with some police officers that were walking by, and I never had any problems. So I don't think I have any particular legal risks I need to worry about, except for as long as I'm careful not to run into someone. That is, obviously. But yeah, for the flying one, obviously she'll be a drone, so she'll be under all the drone laws, which I read 5 times. If you remember the acronym, that might be another hint. And yes, there are plenty of stuff to worry about. One is the weight. The other is having a license. There's also the fact that I can fly her around uninvolved persons, so the flying will only be, for example, in the Swiss Alps to vlog in nice landscapes where there is nobody. But yeah, if you want a fun read, you can read the EU's drone law. It's one afternoon of really good fun, which also has some interesting implications that I won't go too much into here because I have one or few patents I'd like to register first. But yeah, for this one, which will be a classic drone, there is a bunch of legal implications, but basically as long as you have the license and you don't fly near anyone and remain under 25 kilos, you're good. But don't take this as legal advice, read the law.
Okay. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to ask what led you to picking the shell that you did as opposed to starting with a plastic shell or a plush stuffed instead?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Sorry.
What led you to choosing the materials for
Right, thank you.
I'm not used to a microphone.
Thank
sorry.
you, thank you. Sorry. So what led me to choose this material for the shell? Actually, the styrofoam parts are remains of the V2 version, which, as you saw previously, was entirely, the whole shell was made of styrofoam. At first, I wanted to have 3D printed parts, replace them for easy designability, but and then cover them with fake fur. But eventually, I realized it was a pain to get this working with fake fur because I needed to find a way to fix it on or glue it, but then changing the part was a nightmare. And also, she was leaving hair everywhere, which is not something you want from a robot. So that's why I ended up deciding to go with bare-bone 3D printed plastics. The bare bones is for simplicity, and the 3D printed plastic is just because it's the easiest thing I have to at my disposal. However, I'd like in the end to cover it with paper mache like the previous parts, because I kept all the parts that from the previous version that were signed but not reused on this model, and eventually I want to be able to glue those signatures back on. So, yeah, I'd like to add the paper mache for easy signature transferability.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, I really like the idea with the flying drone, and we're thinking about maybe putting the battery pack outside and connecting it to the cord. You wouldn't be able to fly that high, but you would get a lot of the weight outside, and maybe for starting the project, that would make speed it up.
That's actually an idea I have, and which I plan to do. But the idea is the flying SweetieBots will need to fly relatively high in order to get good shots. And I also have no real benefit of gaining weight, at least from a legal standpoint. Obviously, it would lead to increase the flight time, but it would also lead to the complexity of the wire in the ground. So that's something. It would be a lot of effort for not a lot of benefit in considering what I want to do with her. However, there is another legal limit, which is you can fly, yes, that's one thing also, you can't fly a drone self-made that is above 250 grams inside a residential or populated area. So as long as you're above 250 grams, you need to fly at least 150 meters from cities. But that means I would like to make her an add-on. So for self-made drones, for commercial drones, it's other weight requirements. I would like to make her an add-on where she will remain on the ground for city operation, but she has a small, less than 250 gram satellite drone, which would have no battery and be connected to her, and be able to therefore fly in a city, not very high, but to keep the spirit of a flying sweetie being able to record fun stuff from the air, while in places she's not able to legally take off. All right, if there are no more questions.
We have 5 minutes left, so we can take 1 or 2 more questions.
All right, then, but.
What's your question?
Is there anyone that you got help from in building the bot?
My sister painted the eyes. That's it? And obviously, that's not. I didn't get help from anyone for making the code or assembling the bot. However, obviously, I would never have been able to design that thing if it were not for the awesome folks who made all the Arduino libraries I'm using for easy interfacing of all the components. I wouldn't have been able to design that from scratch. So I haven't, let's just say, I haven't asked for anyone's help. But I received tons of help in the sense that I used tons of stuff that some people already did, and I was able to use code or to use ideas, to use mechanisms. So there are plenty of uncredited people here that I wouldn't even know how to begin asking, because there's no list of all the people that worked to get all the Arduino standard and libraries out there. But yeah, this bot is, let's say, my work, but all the stuff that went into it, there were many people that helped her, that helped design it, sometimes even before I was born. Yeah, perfect.
Hello.
Hello.
First off, good work on the bot. It looks amazing.
Thank you.
Second off, how big of a battery does she have?
This one or this one?
Both.
Oh, right. So this one has lithium-ion batteries, but I'd like to get her to lithium iron phosphate eventually. And for now, she has about 300 watt-hours battery. It's six cells in series, and 4 cells in parallel. And this one will have roughly 12 amp hours, also 6S battery, which I obviously haven't taken inside the convention because it's gigantic lithium polymer batteries this size. I'm doing a pretty good job with the safety of this battery. I put a lot of thought into it. She has battery protection and all of that. But obviously, for a drone, due to the currents that are involved, most of the time it's just a lithium polymer pack plugged straight into it. So not the best thing I'd love to take into a convention.
Yeah, they go boomy booms.
Yeah, I don't want that to get broken because other stuff would get broken with it. Thank you for listening, and I'm wishing you an excellent ride back home. Thank you. Oops, the mic is still on.